The village elder, with fear etched in his weathered face, warned Ella of the grove's malevolent nature. "Do not disturb the spirits," he pleaded. But Ella's curiosity burned brighter than any cautionary tale. Guided by an old map, Ella ventured into the grove as the moon ascended to its zenith, casting an eerie glow upon the twisted trees. The air grew colder, and the silence felt suffocating, broken only by the rustling leaves underfoot. Among the gnarled roots and ancient graves, Ella found an old mausoleum, its stone entrance barely visible beneath a blanket of ivy. As she stepped inside, the air thickened with an otherworldly chill. Shadows danced on the walls, and whispers swirled around her, speaking in hushed tones of sorrow and despair. Drawn deeper into the mausoleum's heart, Ella discovered a weathered tome resting on an altar. The book, bound in worn leather, emanated a chilling aura. It called to her, urging her to open its pages and unearth the secrets within. With trembling hands, Ella cracked the ancient book open, and as she did, the whispers intensified. Ghostly apparitions materialized around her, their mournful gazes fixed upon the desecrated tome. Each page turned revealed a fragment of the curse's origin, tale of betrayal, and a vow unfulfilled. The spirits, trapped between worlds, sought retribution, their anguish fueling the grove's malevolence. Desperate to end the curse, Ella sought a way to soothe the tormented souls. The answer lay in fulfilling the vow made centuries ago, a promise to honor the forgotten dead. As she read, the spirits' wails grew louder, their spectral forms twisting in agony. Ella realized the only way to break the curse was to fulfill the vow herself, to honor the memory of those unjustly forgotten. With determination in her heart, Ella pledged to the spirits that their story would be told, their names remembered, and their sacrifices honored. As her vow echoed through the mausoleum, a blinding light engulfed the grove. When the light faded, the whispers ceased, and the spectral figures vanished. The curse lifted, leaving behind a tranquil silence that hadn't been felt in centuries. Ella emerged from the grove, the weight of the curse lifted from her shoulders. With the vow fulfilled, she carried the tales of the silent grove's restless souls, ensuring they'd never be forgotten. The clock struck midnight as Jenna watched her parents' car fade into the night, leaving her alone in the silent expanse of their old Victorian home. They had rushed out for an emergency, promising a swift return, but an unforeseen storm delayed their journey. Wrapped in a blanket, Jenna settled on the couch, the dim glow of the TV, the only source of comfort in the eerie silence. The wind howled outside, and rain battered against the windows, creating an unsettling symphony. With each passing minute, the house seemed to creak and groan in protest, its shadows stretching and contorting in the flickering light. Jenna's nerves tingled as she felt an inexplicable presence, an oppressive weight settling in the air. The TV signal flickered and died, plunging the room into darkness. A sense of isolation washed over her as she reached for her phone, only to find it dead. She was truly alone now, the storm disconnecting her from the outside world. Footsteps echoed from the hallway, a soft, rhythmic pacing that sent shivers down Jenna's spine. She dismissed it as her imagination, the product of an overactive mind in the midst of a stormy night. But then, the footsteps grew closer, deliberate and unmistakable. Heart pounding, Jenna tiptoed toward the hallway, her eyes darting nervously. The wooden floorboards creaked under her weight, adding to the disquieting rhythm of the unseen footsteps. She reached for the light switch, but it flickered uselessly. A cold draft swept through the hallway, carrying with it a haunting melody, child's laughter interwoven with a haunting tune. Panic seized Jenna as the sound seemed to surround her, resonating from every corner of the house. Forcing herself to move, Jenna inched toward the staircase, each step echoing in the hollow silence. The laughter grew loud, more manic, as if mocking her attempts to flee. She hesitated, contemplating whether to descend into the abyss below. With a deep breath, Jenna descended into the darkness, the stairs creaking beneath her. The laughter intensified, echoing off the walls, distorting into a chilling chorus of voices. Shadows danced on the walls, contorting into grotesque shapes that seemed to beckon her deeper into the abyss. As she reached the bottom, Jenna found herself in the basement, a labyrinthine space illuminated by a single flickering bulb. The air was thick with a musty scent, and the chilling laughter echoed from behind a closed door at the far end. Summoning her courage, Jenna approached the door, her hand trembling as she turned the rusty knob. The door creaked open, revealing an ancient room filled with forgotten relics, an old rocking chair, dusty toys, and a cracked mirror. Her reflection in the mirror was distorted, twisted into a grotesque visage that wasn't her own. Frozen in terror, Jenna watched as the mirror rippled, revealing a spectral figure, a child with hollow eyes and a haunting smile. The child beckoned, the laughter, now a haunting melody that wrapped around Jenna's mind. She tried to flee, but an unseen force held her captive, drawing her closer to the mirror. In a desperate attempt to break free, Jenna's hand collided with the mirror's surface, shattering it into 1,000 shards. Darkness consumed her as she fell into an abyss of whispers and laughter. It was a night like any other, or so Claire thought. Her parents had left for a late-night event, leaving her alone in their suburban house. The TV played softly in the living room, casting flickering shadows on the walls. Claire, seeking solace in her room, ironed early, burying herself under the warmth of the covers. As the night deepened, a sense of unease crept upon her. The silence felt suffocating, broken only by the occasional patter of rain against the window. Claire tossed and turned, unable to shake off the feeling of being watched. A distant sound roused her, a soft scraping, like fingernails trailing along the hallway walls. Heart racing, she dismissed it as the house settling, a rationalization to calm her frayed nerves. Minutes turned to hours, and Claire found herself drifting into a fitful sleep. A sudden chill woke her, a breeze whispering through her room. Although the windows remained shut, her gaze wandered to the corner of the room, where a shadow seemed to dance in the moonlight. Fear paralyzed her as the shadow took shape, a figure standing by her wardrobe, its features obscured in the darkness. Claire's throat tightened, her breath caught in her chest. She wanted to scream, to flee, but her body refused to obey. The figure lingered, motionless, yet radiating an ominous presence. Trembling, Claire fumbled for her phone, her fingers slipping against the screen in her panicked state. She managed to dial her neighbor's number, her voice trembling as she whispered for help. As the call connected, the figure turned its head, a movement so slow, yet deliberate, sending a shiver down Claire's spine. But before she could plead for assistance, the line crackled and died, leaving her in dreaded silence. The figure advanced, its steps silent but palpable in the oppressive atmosphere. Claire's only sanctuary was the closet, a tiny space barely big enough for her to fit. With trembling hands, she slipped inside, pulling the door shut behind her. The darkness of the closet enveloped her, muffling her panicked breaths. From the confines of her hiding place, Claire strained to listen, her ears attuned to the slightest sound. Minutes passed like hours in the suffocating darkness, until a soft creak pierced the silence. The closet door shifted, inching open with agonizing slowness. Claire's heart hammered against her ribs, her mind racing with terror. She dared not breathe as a pale hand crept through the gap, its elongated fingers grasping the edge of the door. Panic consumed her as she pressed herself further into the corner, praying for this nightmare to end. With a sudden burst of courage, Claire lunged forward, pushing the door shut with all her might. The figure outside fought back, its inhuman strength causing the door to tremble against her efforts. In a last desperate attempt, Claire screamed for help, her voice a piercing cry in the night. Light flooded the room as her neighbor burst through the front door, drawn by her frantic calls. As the door swung open, the figure evaporated into thin air, leaving Claire trembling and gasping for air in the safety of her room. The neighbor found her in distress, her eyes wide with terror, unable to articulate the horrors she had just faced.